Well, things looked up to be hotting up in the UK. In this section we have the latest on the Bilderberg meeting, the furore over Britain's mind-boggling secret courts, and plots in the Tory party of a planned deal with UKIP. The EU, with its austerity attacks on its own citizens that make the UK and the US look like old-style socialists, is what lies behind the Conservative versus UKIP struggle. So here's an interesting news item to start off with from the EU. European shadow or black economies are somewhere around 20% of total economic activity, or around $3.5 trillion, as large as Germany's whole economy. A report by Tax Research suggests that Germany clocks in at 16%, Italy at 27% of its economy. The shadow economy translates into an estimated 864 billion of lost tax, or just over 7% of euro area GDP. Partly this is drugs, scams and other racketeering, but also it's elite tax avoidance. Tax Research says that the austerity policies are to blame for driving ordinary citizens out of the legal economy. We'll have more about the EU later. Meanwhile, over here in the UK, we're honoured to find out that the Bilderberg, the notorious secretive Bilderberg group, is due to have its biennial meeting in the UK in June. Fran's been trying to dig up a bit more information about this very secretive group, and she's come up with this report.
This year, the secretive, powerful Bilderberg group meets at the Grove Hotel, Watford, from June the 6th to June the 9th, 2013. The Bilderberg group meets in secret every year, involving the international ruling elites. There will be top politicians from around the world, such as Bill Clinton, Tony Blair, David Cameron, George Osborne, people from international organisations such as the World Trade Organisation, the EU, BIS, Council for Foreign Relations, Royal Institute for Foreign Affairs, CEOs from multinational corporations such as Microsoft, Monsanto, Nestle, Novartis, BAE Systems. There will be royalty, and there will be top media tycoons such as Rupert Murdoch, etc. The press are not invited, and there will be a heavy police and security presence at the hotel. Campaigners from around the world are setting up an alternative Bilderberg festival to raise awareness of the Bilderberg group and what it gets up to. They urge as many people as possible to come along and have some fun at the same time as protesting. We have had confirmation that long-term Bilderberg watcher Alex Jones will be coming from America. For more details, please go to the Bilderberg 2013 website.
So from the secret Bilderberg group that's allegedly got too much control of world affairs, we'll go to Britain's secret courts. You might remember in an earlier show we talked about the secret terrorism courts. Well, it's since emerged that terrorism isn't the only issue which Britain deals with by secret courts. Fran, you've been looking into this.
That's right, Ian. Well, it looks like possibly the first person who was jailed by the secret courts, the Court of Protection in this case, was Miss Wanda Maddox, aged 50. She was found guilty of contempt and sentenced to 5 months in jail, and her crime was just to be concerned about her father's care. So she took her father out of Park Hole Care Centre on Stoke-on-Trent and tried to publicise his treatment. And she had no legal representation, and she was charged with contempt. The case wasn't allowed to be reported until her father, who had dementia, had passed away. And in jail, other prisoners didn't believe her reason for the jailing to be true, and so they assaulted her.
And it's not as if there isn't widespread cases of abuse in British institutions. How extraordinary that the court would deal with somebody in that way. Were there other threats that they made? I mean, 5 months in jail for just trying to get your old father out of a hospital.
Well, she didn't serve 5 months at the end. She only served 6 weeks, but that's because she had to apologise to the judge for her offence. But yes, the court threatened to seize family assets if any of the family spoke to the press or anybody else about the case.
So this was not only, I mean, that's two separate issues really, isn't it? I mean, not only was she sent to jail for helping her father leave a home, but then quite separately, there's no need for that to be secret, then she's actually threatened that she has to keep it secret as well. It's as if that judge somehow knows that he's doing something wrong, isn't it? I mean, how extraordinary.
And when she was able to call her father, he was in tears because he didn't know why he hadn't seen her for ages. And as she said, the Human Rights Act is invoked in different cases, but not in this one. And Miss Maddox says, it is the council and the courts who have broken my father's human rights, not me.
Of course.
Because what she was concerned about was that they weren't actually feeding or looking after him properly.
Yeah. And what are the MPs? There was a bit of a, this did get into the mainstream media, to be fair, didn't it? And there were a lot of complaints about it. What have the MPs said about it?
Whistleblowing MP Lib Dem John Hemmings, whose private member's bill to stop secret jailings was blocked. He said, the jailing of people in secret for contempt is not supposed to happen. We now live in a country where people are locked up just for taking their father to see a lawyer. Even in Iran, they do not jail people for taking legal advice. And Jeremy Corbyn MP said, we have been through the debate about secret courts on security matters, but unfortunately, it sounds like secret courts has now extended to other things as well. This is a matter of fundamental justice dating back to the Magna Carta. And there have been other cases as well, so it's not an isolated case.
No. And this is on top of the issue of super injunctions, of course, which we discussed previously, where you're not even allowed to say that you've been told not to say anything about something. So it really is pretty Orwellian.
Yes, so basically campaigners are saying, please write to your MP raising concerns about this, because whenever secret courts become legal, injustice and corruption are rife, making a mockery of so-called justice systems.
Of course, I mean, we're back to the Middle Ages if people don't understand that secret justice always ends up being corrupt. Thanks very much, Fran.